Okay, this is P4 January 2022. It's question 9. As we can see, it's a differential equations question. It's going to be integration as well, obviously, looking at the first part. So let's crack on and get started with it. We have that this function of y is 1 over 1 plus 2 log y squared, and they want to find the differential of it. So first of all, let's just think about the way I'm going to set this out. I'm going to call it fy so that I can then show it really clearly when I do start differentiating, which I won't do yet, but that it's clear that I've made my differential stage. So the first thing to do is to make it look like something that can be differentiated. That can't, but that can now that I've got it as a power there. So now I've got it as a power. Well, that looks really complicated. This is a fairly straightforward differential. Okay, f dash y is simply equal to, it's a chain rule. It's a chain rule that I would hope you would be able to do quite quickly. If not, go back and do some work on chain rule revision. Multiply by the power. Oops. Take one off the power. Times by the differential of what's in there, and the differential of 2 log y is 2 over y. If that's too complicated for you, you're going to need to go back and look at a whole range of those sorts of questions before we move on. Tidying that up then, I want to put the y cubed back on the bottom. I also want to put this y on the bottom here, and minus 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. So if I multiply this all out, I'm going to get minus 4 on the top, and I'm going to get y 1 plus 2 log y cubed on the bottom there. Okay, so that's that first part done. I wouldn't make it any simpler than that when we were going forward with this. On to part B. Now part B says I've got some sort of integral to do here, or some sort of differential equation to solve, which is going to be integration obviously. So what have I got? 3 cosec 2x dy by dx is equal to y 1 plus 2 log y cubed. Yeah, and that's what I was expecting, wasn't it? Was to see parts of my previous answer. So the first thing to do is to separate the variables out, which means I've got to get the y's onto one side. They're going to be on that side, and the x's onto the other side. They're going to be on that side. So it's just 1 over y 1 plus 2 log y cubed. And with the x's, it's 1 over cosec 2x. I need to decide what to do with that 3. I'm going to leave it on that side rather than making it into a fraction of some sort. So when we get to this stage, this is where you now need to stop and think, maybe just have a quick look at this. This isn't going to cause me too many problems because it's going to be some version of that up there, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then the cosec 2x, 1 over cosec is sine. Right, yeah, I'm okay with doing that then. So again, if I was doing this, just trying to make it clear to the examiner, I'd probably just write it all out again, but just change that one to sine 2x now. Now I'm okay with this side. That shouldn't cause me any problems here. With this bit, again, just like I said previously, if you can't now do this integral, you've got to go back and spend a bit more time just looking at that particular topic. Go and look at some topic questions of that. But what we should be able to see is from up here, the bit that I've highlighted in yellow, the integral of minus 4 over y 1 plus 2 log y cubed, we know that that works out to be that. So if that's true, all I've got here is a multiple of that. So when I'm doing this integral, we can always ignore the 3, but it's going to be minus a quarter of 1 over 1 plus 2 log y squared. And then on the other side, the integral of sine 2x is just minus a half cos 2x plus c. As I say, if that step's a little bit too difficult for you, go back and practice some more of those. What we basically do is we start off with our guess, we differentiate it. Once we've got our differential, we then try and make that adaptation to what the constant's going to be. So go away and have another look at that. But if that's fine with you, then that's part B done, I think. What else do we need to do? Let's just go and have a look. Find the general solution. So I found the general solution. Part C is finding the particular solution. So the particular solution just means that we're going to be given some values here. What have we told? Y equals 1 when x equals pi over 6. So y equals 1, x equals pi over 6 means what I'm going to need to do is to be able to work out what this constant is. So sticking all that in, basically, it's copying that out again. So I've got that situation, except I know that y is going to be 1, and I know that x is going to be pi over 6, which means 2x is pi over 3, and so I can now work out what c is going to be. Log 1 is equal to 0, okay, so that means that that bit there is all going to go. So I'm going to get minus 3/4 times 1. Well, that's nice then. That's just going to give me minus 3/4, and cos pi over 3 is a half. That's going to be really nice. So it's going to be minus 1/4 plus c. So c just works out to be equal to whatever that is, minus a half there. Okay, so if we go back, I can now write the formula down, but with the fact that c is equal to minus a half in here. And now what I really need to do, in fact, let's just go back and check that they told me they want it, yeah, they want it in a particular format. Y equals is what you generally try and get to. Let's worry about exactly what it is in a minute. Let's at least get started with it. I've got a sec x minus 2. I can sort of just be thinking about that as I'm going through and getting started with this. First bit to do would be on the right hand side. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. 1 plus 2 log y squared. But on the right hand side, I could take minus half out as a factor, couldn't I? Which is going to give me cos 2x plus 1. And then we can tidy up those two fractions. We're going to get 3 over 1 plus 2 log y. Sorry, this is why I don't copy things and why I sometimes use the iPad to do that. But we do have to be careful of that sort of thing when we're actually going through and doing it, that we're not making any copying errors here. So that's 3 over 1 plus 2 log y squared equals 2 lots of cos 2x plus 1. Actually, let's just multiply it all out straight away. 2 cos 2x plus 2. And I'm trying to get y equals. So if I'm trying to get y equals, I'm going to take this thing over to the other side now. So I'm going to have 3 over 2 cos 2x plus 2 is equal to 1 plus 2 log y squared. And now what I really want to do is, if I want to try and get rid of this squared, and knowing what I'm looking at my answer getting towards, it doesn't have a square root in there anywhere, then this is difficult, but you know, this is why this is a P4 exam. You should be recognizing that cos 2x is either 2 cos squared x minus 1, 1 minus 2 sine squared, or cos squared minus sine squared. Well, simply because I ideally want to get rid of this 2 here. Okay, I want to make this quite simple, which means that that should disappear. I think I'm going to go for, let's write it down and tell the examiner what I'm doing. Cos 2x is 2 cos squared x minus 1, which means that here now I've got 3 over, let's slow this down a little bit actually, because I don't want to make a mistake with it. If that's true, then 2 cos 2x plus 2 will be 2 lots of 2 cos squared x minus 1 plus 2, which is 4 cos squared x minus 2 plus 2, which is 4 cos squared x. Up to you whether you want to do all that or you just want to jump straight to what I was going to do, which is to say that I've now got 3 over 4 cos squared x is equal to 1 plus 2 log y squared, and the whole point being there now that if I now take the square root and say 1 plus 2 log y, which is what I wanted to do, square root both sides, don't necessarily need to put that in, examiner will know what you're doing. But we've got the square root of this left hand side is root 3 on the top, and this is the neat bit, is 2 cos x there. And now, because I did have a quick sneak look at the answer that I wanted to do, I can remember that my answer had sec x. Well, that's root 3 over 2 sec x that side is equal to 1 plus 2 log y. And the answer comes out quite nicely from this. We'll take a little bit of time, but you can just fast forward to the end if you want now for this bit here. Take the 1 over. Is equal to 2 log y. Divide everything by 2. Log y is equal to root 3 over 4 sec x minus a half, and so y is e to the that thing. Let's just go back up and check. Yeah, and that's what we had up here where we were trying to work out what a is. So a is that constant there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you all.